Hello everyone. Today's session is about the machine learning. So previously we had seen the artificial intelligence, the evolution of artificial intelligence, the importance, then applications and the challenges. So all those things we had seen in this previous topic, that is the artificial intelligence technique. So here the next one is which is called a machine learning. So normally we can say machine learning is a subfield, otherwise it is one part of artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence is a broad area. Okay, so here machine learning is one part. Okay, machine learning, deep learning, so all those things comes under artificial intelligence. Okay, so here there is a definition for machine learning. So it is a subfield of artificial intelligence that where the computers use data and algorithm to learn patterns and make decisions without being explicitly programmed for every single task. This is the basics of machine learning. Otherwise, this is the basic definitions of machine learning. Okay, so already I told you clearly that is a subfield of artificial intelligence which is called a machine learning. So mainly it focuses to build algorithms and select some models. That model must enable your computer to learn different data and also from the pattern to improve with experience without explicit programming for every task. If we can say it's in a simple word, in machine learning, it teaches a system to learn some patterns. There are different patterns are available. Okay, to learn some patterns and make a decision. Okay, that decision, how the system will take a decision, how the human will take a decision. Okay, suppose there is a problem. Okay, how the human will take a decision. Similarly, the system will take a decision using different patterns with different kinds of algorithm. Okay, that's what here we are mentioning. That is a machine learning teaches to system to learn patterns. The system must learn the patterns. What kind of patterns are there? Okay, using with the different algorithms, with machine learning algorithms, and make a decision. That decision which likes a human takes decision. Okay, by analyzing and learning from its data. Okay, so this is the basics of machine learning. That is this the definition of a machine learning. Now, there are three different types of machine learning available. Okay, so the machine learning is classified in these three areas, like supervised machine learning algorithm, unsupervised machine learning algorithm, and another one is which is called a reinforcement algorithm. So that there are three classifications. So what are all the difference when we are using with supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement? Means when we are using with the supervised learning algorithm, it trains the model on your labeled data. Okay, so whenever we are getting, that is whenever we are trained our model with the labeled data, it will predict. So most probably it will predict, otherwise it will be classify some new unseen data. That is the supervised machine learning techniques. And then another one, unsupervised, it find the patterns or a group of unlabeled data. Okay, so there is a difference between supervised and unsupervised. Supervised, it trained the model on your labeled data and it will predict. There is a prediction. Okay, otherwise it will be classifying a new unseen data. But when we are compared with the unsupervised learning, it find some patterns or a group using a unlabeled data. Okay, so these are the difference between the supervised and unsupervised. So another one which is called reinforcement learning. So reinforcement learning, through the trial and error to maximize rewards, it's ideal for decision making tasks. Okay, so these are the three different types of machine learning. One is supervised, another one is unsupervised machine learning, and the last one which is called the reinforcement learning. So this diagram is this diagram shows the clear picture about the types of machine learning. Okay, when we are using with the supervised learning, we can train your model with a classification technique as well as the regression. But when we are using with the unsupervised learning, we will have a clustering and we will have a dimension reduction and we will have a associated rule learning. Okay, so these all are the things when we are going to discuss about the types of machine learning concepts. So apart from that, like supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement, we are having another one specific category which is called a semi-supervised learning. Otherwise, it is also called a self-supervised learning. So which combines the elements of both supervised and the unsupervised learning. Okay. So the first one, supervised machine learning. Here, the supervised machine learning is defined as when a model gets trained on a labeled data set. So already I told you clearly, that is when we defined our data, the data must be trained on your labeled data set. That labeled data set have both input and output parameters. So whatever data we are going to analyze, otherwise we are going to deal with that data set have both input and output parameters. Okay. So in supervised learning algorithm, it learns to map points between input and correct outputs. Okay, so whenever we are dealing with that machine learning algorithm, so it learn to map the input and output parameters. Okay, so according to the input and output, it will be mapped using with the algorithm. Okay, it has both the training and validation data set labeled. Okay, so whatever data set we have a labeled data set, both in that labeled data set must be a trained one as well as a validate one. Okay, so this is the example picture which we can easily identify what is machine learning and how the training data and how we are analyzing these three types of machine learning concept. Okay, so in the left side we are having a raw amount of input data. Okay, we can easily say there is a group of animals are there. Okay, that means a raw data. The left side we are having a group of animals which is called a raw data. Okay, so these all are a labeled data. How we are identifying these all are the labeled data? So we can identify easily these data as labeled. How it means there is a animal. Okay, the name of the animal is camel. Otherwise the name of the animal is elephant. Okay, human we can easily identify the animals with their name. Okay, the name which is called a label. Okay, but the system cannot identify this one is elephant, this one is camel. Okay, so whenever we are identifying that particular animal with their label, that is name. Okay, we can easily identifying. Okay, then we can easily train your data, then we can easily map with your output. Okay, so human being we can easily take the decision, but the system cannot take decision that this one is lion, this one is elephant. Okay, so in the group of data, which means a raw amount of data, we can give a label for each and every data. Okay, after that when we are using with the supervisor, so all your data must be a trained one. Okay, for this training data set we can use different machine learning algorithms. After that your machine learning algorithms will be processed. Finally you are getting a mapped output with, so this one is elephant, this one is camel, this one is cow. Okay, so this is the way how you are using your machine learning concept with your raw data. Okay, so this is the example. If you train a model using labeled images, okay, it may be any one of the image like a camel or like elephant. It learns the future of each. Okay, each and every animal we have to learn its future. Okay, suppose we can see a new image, which means we can add a new data. Okay, we can predict whether it's a particular camel or it may be a elephant. Okay, so here we can easily categorize your supervised learning with two different types. Okay, number one is classification and another one which is called the regression. Okay, when we are dealing with the uh, supervised learning, there are two categories are available. Number one is classification, number two which is called regression. Okay, so here classification. Okay, so we can classifying your data, so classification predicts the categorical outputs, meaning it assigns data into predefined classes like spam or non-spam emails or disease risk category. Okay, so this is called a classification. Suppose I am having a more number of mails in my inbox. Okay, how I can classify whether these things are comes under spam folder or these things are comes under non-spam? That is a classification. Okay, otherwise disease. Okay, risk category wise disease. Okay, so this one is a low risk category of disease, this one is a high risk categories of disease. Okay, so this is the way to categorical of your input and output. Okay, so here the algorithms learn to map your input features to discrete the labels. Okay, so this is the way to classifying your data. Suppose we are having a class, a group of second year students, a group of second year. So here how we are classifying, other is how we can classification of this particular class means we can classify these students with two different ways. One is there are a set of boy students. Okay, that is one classification, a set of boy students and a set of girl students. Okay, then how we can classify these students? We can classify with different names. Okay, different names. So this is the way to classifying your input. Okay, this is the way to classifying your input. Based on this classification algorithm, we are having different classification algorithms using the supervised learning techniques. Number one, which is called a logistic regression. Number two, a k nearest neighbor, KNN, that is the important one. Then the decision tree. Then the fourth one, which is called naive based. Then the fifth one, which is called random forest, and the last one, which is called support vector analysis. Okay, so these all are some important classification algorithms under the supervised learning techniques. Okay, where we are using this supervised learning. Okay, where we are using this supervised learning, which means we have a labeled data and we want to some predict. We have to get some predict, which means we have to analyze with some prediction. That is the outcome of our labeled data. So this ideal for a classification. Okay, suppose I'm going to receive a mail. Okay, there is a prediction whether the prediction maybe goes to the spam folder or it maybe goes to the inbox. Okay, that is a prediction, which means a classification. Or a regression task like a price forecasting. Okay, suppose a forecasting how whether it may be a rainy. Okay, otherwise it may be a hot or cold. Okay, so that is a regression technique. Okay, the best used in domain where historical data with outcomes is already available when we are used with kind of supervised learning. Okay, so these are the applications where we are using this supervised learning. Number one, some image, speech and text processing. Okay, nowadays we are using, otherwise now we are dealing with research work with different kinds of image segmentation, some speech and text processing. Okay, so all those things we have to use different classification and speech recognition as well as some sentiment analysis. So all those things we are using different kinds of supervised learning algorithm. Then we are using some predictive analysis. Suppose to maybe a forecast sales or a customer relationship or a stock prices and a weather condition. These are the things all a predictive one. We cannot predict whether rain will come today or not. Okay, that is the predicting. Then customer relationship as well as the stock prices. Okay, the stock market we cannot predict the value. Okay, sometimes it may be increased, sometimes it may be decreased. Okay, similarly weather conditions. So these are the predictive analysis. Then the recommendations and personalization, some powering systems that suggest the products or movies or content. Okay, that means a recommendation to the personalization. Then healthcare and finance, some healthcare and finance using some medical diagnosis, some fraudulent deduction and some credit scoring. So all those things comes under healthcare and finance. And the last one, which is automation and control. Okay, so nowadays we are using different automations and autonomous vehicles, some manufacturing quality checks. All those things comes under the supervised learning. Okay, so these all are the things we are having different types of applications in supervised learning techniques.